better leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Bundy, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hopes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Car era lore. Call me Levi playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hopes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Refuse not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum NFTs. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
party.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hopes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Freaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, miny, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. I had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the drive with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, GM. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate all the love in the chats. Shout out to Absolute Zero, Risk Brian in the YouTube gang. Teacher Katie always holding it down over an abstract. I mentioned my abstract XP was up probably about, doing math, maybe like almost 20% this week. So not sure if there's any changes there or just ran good, but I will take it. What I won't take or what I don't appreciate is Florida weather this week. Karma is real. Took some victory laps last week, and that slapped me in the face this week with temperatures in the 30s. It's colder in Orlando. Not that I live in Orlando, but it's colder in Orlando, Florida than it is in Juneau, Alaska today. And Tampa is expecting snow this weekend. I've been here a little over 5 years now, and snow hasn't even been once even mentioned, not even been close. It may not hit, but just the threat of snow, like neighbors have all their plants and flowers. They've got all their sheets over top of them outside and just bracing in case we get frost. It is short. Here's the alpha. Here's real actionable alpha. I know everything is in. Everyone's talking about the hip thing to do today is trade rare metals and long copper and gold and silver. The alpha today would be short oranges, short orange juices. We're going to take it all the way back to the man, why am I drawing a blank? What's the why can't I think of this? What is the, help me out, chat. What is the Huey test? What is the SEC test for whether it's a security or not that started with orange groves? Is it Huey? Why can't I think of this? Jack, do you know?
I have no idea, Cap.
I want Howie test. The Howie test. I don't know where I got Huey. I need more coffee. I'm only on 1 cup, so more coffee coming soon. We do have an awesome guest coming at 9. It is a sponsored interview. However, I'm genuinely excited. We've been pretty selective on who we bring on for sponsored interviews, and we've turned a few down. This one is one that I'm genuinely curious. They're going to teach me how to create an AI streamer personality. You too can become a streamer, even if you don't like being in front of the camera. So would love to have a warm room for our special guest, AI TV. Their account is tagged up top. It's AI TV GG. They'll be joining us around 9. We have a lot to get into before they join us. BIRB is live if you missed that. I'm not sure if the claim is live yet. Let me go track that down. But yes, the Howie test, if you're not familiar, was a 4-pronged legal standard created in 1946 in a Supreme Court case that determined investment contracts, what is a security, what's not a security. We often reference the 4 key elements of the Howie test. Is there an investment of money? Is there a common enterprise, meaning the investment's pooled with others, linking the investor's financial success to the success of the project or the promoter? Is there an expectation of profits? This is why all NFTs pass the Howie test, because there's no expectation of profits here. I kid. The investor anticipates financial returns. And then the 4th button is it from the efforts of others? Meaning, are those profits expected to come primarily from the managerial or entrepreneur work of the promoter or the third party, not the investor's own labor? It needs updated. It is what it is. It's very, again, 1946 is when it was created. I'm not going to go off on a rant about accredited investors and how the both public and private investment contracts and things could and should change. I'm actually for good regulation, but not too much regulation. And I would like to see some changes in. I just wish investing was more accessible to the masses. And it's just the reality is it's not today. But I digress. That the Supreme Court case was about orange groves and oranges. So that is the established in SEC versus WJ Howie Co., where the court found sales of orange grove land with management contracts, those were securities. So you can't invest in orange grove, but you can short oranges, orange juice, and those companies that rely on oranges, because if Orlando's getting freezing weather, you're going to get a lot. It's going to be a bad orange season. The price of orange. Actually, let me think about this. I still think you want to short them because they're just, the supply is not going to be there. Price of oranges and orange juice is most likely to go up. It's a big export of Florida. I know there's oranges elsewhere, but if we actually do get frost and it kills the blooms in the orange groves, going to be a lot less oranges and orange juice out there, and prices will go up. But I still think it's a net negative for those in the orange juice business. Jack, I bet you didn't think we were going to be talking about oranges and orange juice this morning, did you?
Cap, actually, that's exactly what I thought we'd be talking about today. Yeah, that's what else is there to talk about?
A few things. Yes, Katie calls it this GVC sweatshirt. One of my favorite, Vibetown Social Club. It's funny, Payne and I were discussing yesterday who we should reach out to, who we should do some more stuff with, and Good Vibes Club is one of them. And I'm like, that's what I feel like I've been pumping the Good Vibes Club's bags almost on a daily basis now, and I currently have no exposure. I've got an honor. I shouldn't say no exposure. I do have an honorary that's near and dear. Someday I could probably sell that thing for 6 figures, but I'm not going to. And I have a lot of merch courtesy of the team. And Jack, this isn't like give me stuff. I'm not looking for a handout. I'm just thinking from a business standpoint. I think a lot of teams have missed on hooking up streamers of all sizes, big, small, medium, with merch. They won me over. They got earned goodwill with me because they sent me a really nice merch bag. I rock it on the show. It's free. It's free branding. Not only that, like they won goodwill with me by hooking me up with some sweet merch, making an awesome honorary, and they curried a lot of favor. It's just real. It's how humans work. It's like scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. It's not a sponsored show, I guess. Probably since we talked about the Howie test and paid disclosures and disclosing paid promos, I do actually believe by the strict letter of the law, I should disclose that this hoodie was free, and therefore I do have a vested interest in Good Vibes Club. You could consider all my Good Vibes Clubs promos a paid promo because they gifted me some stuff. I'm not going to sell the hoodie, but just again, I'm kind of joking, but I do try to do things above board. That said, I just being real, like I think more brands in this space. I don't need more merch. I don't need more hoodies. I just filled up an entire closet of hoodies. And outside of this week where it's in the 30s, I usually don't need hoodies in Florida. But Jack, have you gotten, we don't get into a long rant, but have you gotten hooked up with merch from other brands? And if so, do you likely continue to talk about those brands in positive light, even if there's no paid engagement going forward?
So no, I don't. I'm trying to think outside of like owning the NFT. So definitely not through the content side. Sorry about that.
So that's a miss. That's a miss. Like you're doing good interviews. I don't know if you've shared posted your pod with Spencer today. I know that'll be coming out soon.
Literally in the next hour cap, it's going out. I'm sort of multitasking right now, uploading it, but X keeps bugging out on the upload because it's quite a big file.
Get it live. Assuming it goes live in the next 2 hours, please pin it up top. I'd love to help amplify that. And that's my point. Is like you're doing big interviews. You get eyeballs on your stuff, and it's a miss by some of these brands for saying, "Hey, Jack, if we send you some merch, some gear, would you rock it?"
Well, look, put it this way. This week alone, I think I've been on live streams for around 30 to 40,000 viewers, like all with a wrecked cap on that I bought.
Yeah.
So, like it was none of them have been free. I left my only free wrecked cap in Miami whilst I was filming all these interviews. I got one of the yellow ones from that event, and then I lost it. Or I left it at the hotel, basically. So yeah, that's we gave away a very rare Michael Jordan card on a Somnia stream the other day. And it reached traditional audiences, and everybody basically started coming in. I think it had 16,000 live stream views. I had my rec cap on, and it literally had just people asking what that was. That's just another connection point. And I wouldn't be surprised if the algo with AI actually gets good enough now that it starts like referencing that brand is connected to this.
That's
if people are watching the stream connected to the actual, the brand's X, maybe they want to see some of that content more.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I agree. Katie says merch is always a fun thing to talk about. I mean, you saw us yesterday pulling out stuff from my merch closet. So I retract. I have 2 merch closets. Collectively are probably bigger than my actual clothes closets. And if you combine my merch that's still in storage bins in the garage, far more merch in my home than I do clothes that I've purchased. Well, I guess I purchased a lot of that merch too, but you know what I mean. Regular normie clothes. It does connect people and evoke memories. Why do you think you go to an event and they give free hats or free shirts, or you sign up at a gym and you get a t-shirt? It not only is free marketing and advertising, it connects people and evokes emotion, evokes memories. Katie, appreciate the segment or the segment recommendation. Yeah. Also, if you guys have anything else, thanks for bringing this up, and then we will get into this BIRB drop and news of the day, trending topics before we bring our guest on. But if anyone has any segments that you'd like to see or have any ideas, we're open. We're going through, I don't want to say like a rebrand. It's still going to be Coffee with Captain. But if you've noticed, we made some slight adjustments to the icon logo, and we have a lot of things in flight. Candidly, probably too many things in flight. I chatted with Outer on Monday night for about an hour, and then we kept her for like another hour yesterday after the show, and just a lot of things percolating. Really excited to move forward with some of these changes. And so great time if there's something you'd like to see. Not just like a guest, but if there's something you have an idea for a segment, or I know BZ Claw Draw, I need to actually, I need to do a base claw draw. I haven't done that yet, but that is, I know the Coffee with Captain was an all-time favorite. We will look to bring that back if the BZ team's on board. Maybe we can do a promo with base there even. But yeah, if there's anything out there that you'd like to see or have any ideas for the show, We would not take any offense to it. In fact, would love to incorporate some community ideas. It's very much a community show, and all of you make the show what it is by not just showing up and being here, but really adding to the conversation almost each and every day, both directly and indirectly by helping us connect with people, founders that we may not have had a direct connection with prior to. But Jack, I'm guessing you popped up to talk BIRB. Before we jump into that, well, I actually have one other thing. I'm not saying like we take credit for this. There was a lot of people that shared this sentiment, but I said it yesterday. Feedback matters. You missed the post. I quote tweeted Nifty Gateway's update, and again, not taking credit for this. This isn't like we didn't drive this change ourselves, but there was a lot of other people. It was almost unanimous in terms of the feedback that the sunsetting of Nifty Gateway was just not great, and was a very short timeline, and people were standing to lose millions of dollars in NFTs because not everyone's here on a monthly basis. Some people check out and they think their assets are just going to be there. They're on chain. They should last forever. Long story short, they did make some adjustments, and feedback matters. It really, especially when teams listen, it can have a big impact. Gary suggests ENS.eth segment. Stay tuned. Not exactly. I mean, we'd be happy to do something with ENS again soon, but we have something we actually have a follow-up meeting tomorrow with someone, a brand, a business, a protocol that's working very closely with ETH. Let's say, with ENS. Let's say it's ENS adjacent, and I think you all will like it. I'm excited because I haven't seen it talked about hardly anywhere else, and it is, again, really cool. Some exciting stuff, some new novel things, and I think will resonate with many of you here. Excited to share more on that soon. But here is the post I referenced, and I will quickly read the Nifty Gateway follow-up if you missed it. Nifty Gateway says, to the Nifty Gateway community, thank you for your feedback on the recently announced closure of our platform. It is our goal to conduct the process of closing Nifty Gateway in a smooth and orderly way, and that all customers are able to move their NFTs to the wallet of their choice and have access to them in perpetuity. Below is an update on the closure process. Plan is to migrate the metadata and media hosting on Nifty Gateway to a permanent decentralized solution on Airweave. There's a subset of NFTs created in 2021 or before with metadata that is permanently linked to Nifty Gateway servers. For these NFTs, we will continue to host this metadata in perpetuity. We're extending the deadline for moving assets to a 90-day window. So now instead of February 3rd, you have till April 23rd. This is bad for me because now where I was creating a sense of urgency, I'm like, oh, I got 90 days. I'll do that later. And I'll probably do it on April 22nd. After this date, if customers have not moved their assets off the platform, we'll continue to work with customers to make sure they're able to move their NFTs to a wallet of their choice. We're working with the bulk withdrawal tool as well for our customers who have multiple NFTs on the platform. We'll be rolling it out shortly with plenty of time to use the tool before April 23rd. Again, good move, good adjustment. It's unfortunate that they are sunsetting, but it is what it is. I get it. And we also, we actually have a artist spotlight planned monthly. Shout out to Imlo. I'm not sure if Imlo's out there yet this morning, but longtime fan of the show, regular in here almost every day. And I'm going to be doing some artist spotlights as well. So yeah, love the suggestion. Keep them coming. Appreciate any and all suggestions. Jack, you have any ideas, anything you'd like to see on Coffee with Captain? Put you on the spot.
Sorry, Cap. I was half focused on uploading this video. What in reference to what?
I was just saying, anything that you've seen elsewhere on other shows, any segments or anything that you'd like to see on the show, any ideas?
Oh, you need clippers. I would say you probably need to curate, like, if you've got regular guests, see if they will give you a little back and forth on the video so that the clips will feel a bit more organic. But that's what I would love to see is, how do we get the clippers involved? How do we reward people in terms of clipping? And, if they get more bums on seats on the show, is there anything we can do with them? And then, of course, Good Vibes Club and focusing on these brands, even if they don't have a big launch. I think that's what you've always been great at is, being the community show. And I think the biggest thing about a community show is not always having to rely on a TGE event or anything, just figuring out who these guys are, even when, maybe they're a little quieter and they're in between big announcements.
Yeah, great call out. And yes, Clippers are coming. We actually shout out to Blue and Boo. Apparently, if your name starts with a B, you're set up to become a Coffee with Captain Clipper. there's anyone else that's interested in clipping, there's a few things we want to get buttoned up. StreamYard now actually does a really good job of their auto-populated clips are really good. We're just working through what's the best way to give access to those clips without giving full carte blanche access to our StreamYard, which we can't do. So working through some logistics there, and then we will hopefully start flooding the stream with clips. You've noticed I've been shooting a few more out. My goal is to get at least one clip a day myself, and yeah, would love to have more clips out there. I think that's one of the things that I think we have a good conversation on the show, not just myself, but I think the community is pretty big brained and a lot of good takes. We don't do the best job of repurposing that data, not just on X, but all other platforms. And I think that's probably one of our biggest opportunities. We look at the show and moving forward and growing the show and getting more eyeballs is simply repurposing a lot of the great content, a lot of the great takes that take place here, getting it out there for those that can't or don't tune in at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think creator segments also, I think I've seen a lot of people talk about clipping recently. Obviously, Info 5e and Dead, that seems to be the next place that general people go into as well. But the quality on the timeline is so different. Like, it's so varied. I think a lot of people don't know where to start, how to start. And then the algo as well. I think when you mentioned trying to get a clip out a day, like, I think that's something that I struggle with is how many clips could you post in a day without impacting the previous clip? And the algo seems to suggest, at least from the GitHub upload and being made public, that yes, it will. Like, it's a 24-hour thing. If you talk about the same thing in 24 hours, apparently it starts bucketing you into only surfacing to your followers. It doesn't surface it to the same people who saw the previous clip who don't follow you. So yeah, all of that stuff would be great to get into. A little bit of like a strategy for Coffee with Captain that helps any creator would be cool.
Yeah, great call out. I agree. And also the reason, due to how the algo is working now, where it's just a lot better to have an army of clippers as opposed to just sending those clips out ourselves. I do very much agree. One of the thing I wanted to cover, I thought it was pretty cool. Gary got me thinking as he mentioned ENS. It's not ENS, but it's just where my brain went. It's actually not Etherscan. It is a third party, but at least I believe it's a third party, but they got a feature live on Etherscan. It's powered by DropSpot. And for all those of you that are tuning in for Moonbirds and the update, we will, I don't think the claim is live yet still, but it is live for trading. I guess if you're a Binance Alpha staker, you could have claimed and sold. We will certainly hit on that as well. But here is the Etherscan post I was referencing. I've not even checked this out myself, but I thought, this is cool. This would have been really helpful in 21-22. But this is powered by DropSpots. It's native on Etherscan now, and basically your unclaimed airdrops. You can go see. You can see this quick video if you're looking in. I'll pin this up top in a sec. You just go to your Etherscan, drop your wallet. If you search your wallet, and then scroll to the bottom right, you'll see cards. And that card shows you multi-chain airdrop finder. The example here in the video, 5 airdrops worth like $2,000. So nice little added feature there on Etherscan. And this is my first time seeing or even hearing about this DropSpot, but pretty cool feature. If you're like me, it's sometimes I just procrastinate and miss a deadline. Oftentimes though, when things are busy, just not aware, or maybe it wasn't a protocol that I actively farmed, but because I had wallet activity or my X account, I would have been eligible for an airdrop, and I missed out on. So do what I say, not what I do. And last but not least, just because there's a few people commenting, I saw Opportunist over there as well as Chris Voigt took a celebratory victory lap at the gym this morning. It was a ghost town. So 27 days the resolutioners lasted. January 28th was the day that maybe that was it. Might have something to do with being a little colder outside the day, but went from usually pretty packed, even pre 5 a.m. It's a 24-hour gym, at least 5-6 days a week. And this morning I was like one of 6 people in there. at about 4:45. So I was grateful for that. Part of the benefit of going early is the not having crowded gyms and not having to wait for machines and whatnot. But anyways, I digress. On to big news of the day. We're going to talk BIRB. There might be a few other headlines we get into. Sounds like there's probably going to be some geopolitical tensions here in the very near future that'll probably send markets in both directions, possibly aggressively. But we'll punt that till tomorrow, maybe later. Here's what we're going to talk about on the BIRB front. First of all, let me show you the chart. It looks great right now. And I actually, whereas I think I said I was planning to short this thing, I'm not going to touch a short today. Maybe I'll reconsider later. But because of how they're doing this airdrop, because of the 24-month vesting for holders, and knowing Spencer's connections and understands the game pretty well, I could see this thing going up for a bit. There's no sell. I mean, very few sellers. It's just like the holders are going to get 1/24th of their. Hold on a second. I don't know what I was doing this morning. Good thing I don't know, 26 minutes in, realized I've got overhead light on instead of the proper lighting. So my bad. I'll go flip the switch off once I hand it to Jack. It's currently at an $81 million market cap, although fully diluted. That checks in about 282 million, which is on the higher end of where Polymarket said. Actually, if you think these numbers hold, and I do, maybe this is instead of short, I might actually did not have this on my bingo card. But right now, one day after launch, so I'm guessing, I don't know what time they're going to use. Make sure you read the details here. This is Polymarket. There's 600,000 of volume on it. It only shows a 34% chance of being over 200 million. Right now it's at 282. So looking good on that front. Only a 10% chance that it stays north of 300 million. I think that it's in the range of outcomes that today the plan goes live. You see some people dump, but there's just not that many. There's just not many tokens in supply. And I think that they likely have good market makers. And I don't know this. I don't know who the market makers are, but I fully expect. I'm trying to choose my words properly here because it's not crime, it's not a scam, but they're going to play chart games. I fully expect it. In fact, I would be shocked if they don't. And therefore, I could see this thing keep going up for a while. Now, how long can they hold it? I don't know. 24 months of sell pressure from token claimers is a long time. And I don't love it for the NFT holders. I hold one Mythic. So it's like, whatever, I'm going to claim it. Probably not going to sell today. You often it's like 3 days after TGE is I think on average kind of the Pico top before the sell-off begins. I think this one probably runs a little bit longer. Actually, I think we'll get into tokenomics here in a second. I think tokenomics and the vesting, I think it's bad for NFT holders. I think it's really good for token holders. And the other thing I shared this morning was my biggest takeaway from all this, my biggest takeaway from the tokenomics and the timeline is this is signaling a shift from NFTs being at the core of the ecosystem to BIRB being at the core of the ecosystem. I foresee Spencer in Orange Cap Games. I foresee Moonbirds driving more value accrual to BIRB than the token than the NFTs going forward. Similar, not too dissimilar from Rect and Rect Guy NFTs. Now, Rect Guy NFTs, they got equity in the company, they got big token allocation. But today and moving forward, most of the focus from OSF and the team, they talk about Rect, the token. They talk about they do, it's their brand coin. It's most of what they talk about, most of what they drive attention to, and attempt to drive value back, whether it be by token buybacks or whatnot. It's token based, not NFT based. I get it. I get it from an investor standpoint. I get it for a team standpoint. If I was in their shoes, I'd probably do the same thing. I think it's better. And these have already launched, except for Rec, but Moonbirds already has multiple secondary collections. So it's not like they can launch more secondary collections. It's just as you are looking to grow, if you're looking to grow a brand that reaches more people than a few thousand individuals in NFTs, I think you're much better off doing that with a fungible token as opposed to an NFT. It's just the entry point, there's far less friction. It's just far easier. And oh, by the way, the team is not sitting on thousands of NFTs. They're going to be sitting on 25% of the token supply. So for many, many reasons, there's just, when you talk about alignment, I think this is like, it makes sense thinking about it now, but if you look at native tokens versus strategy tokens, and for my brain, strategy tokens, those brands that went that route, they're putting the NFTs at the top of the pedestal as far as focus, value accrual, etc. Native tokens, not all, most though, if they launch their own token, their own fungible token, that becomes the top of the pedestal, far above beyond the NFTs. I get it. I don't like it as a NFT fan, and I don't know where now. While I say I don't know where the NFT goes, if they do drive value accrue to BIRB, if they do have other activations and syncs and reasons to buy the token, it will support the NFTs because of, at least for 24 months, because it's a slow drip. There's tokens every month they're going to get a claim, and if token price goes from, let's say it goes hypothetically from a 292 million fully diluted value to 2.8 billion, now all of a sudden those NFTs become a lot more valuable because they're a proxy for the token, at least for the next 2 years. So I get it. I get it from a strategy standpoint. I don't love it, but Jack, thoughts on? I'll show the tokenomics chart here in a second. If those missed it, I'll also, I think I might have already pinned that up top. If not, I'll go grab it. But what was your initial gut thoughts? Have you had a chance to think much about both the tokenomics and how they're going about this TGE?
Yeah, look, I'm with you, Cap. I think realistically, the holders almost don't need to worry about the concerns that Spencer has with his, with how he's thinking about how much focus is going to go into the NFT if every month they get dropped the same percentage of the token. So as long as their focus is on the token, it's kind of on the value of the NFT. Even if NFT holders don't like it, they're always going to be able to exit with essentially some sort of math being done on the value of the token itself. I think the way Spencer has, the TCG, the cards, the business model that they have, and obviously with the interview that I've had with him, the business is in a very, very good position. They are competitive with the biggest TCGs on the planet right now. They're held in some of the biggest trading card game stores, by the way. TCG, for those, I'm sorry if I'm talking in, I hate it when people do that in crypto, so I definitely shouldn't do it in cards. They're basically in every store you would want them to be in. They're in like the biggest competitions in the world. Some of their sales are comparable to first edition Charizards from the Pokemon collection. So for me, just the way you're thinking about Rect is how I'm thinking about Moonbirds. It's like, okay, it is the token. The focus is the token. The difference between Rect and the Moonbirds collection is that the NFT collection for Moonbirds is directly correlated to the success of the token. Rect doesn't seem to be that way. Like, you had to hold the NFT at the time for equity. You have to now hold the token as the NFT. So those prices don't match. Like, if Rect goes up in volume and price, doesn't necessarily always impact the NFT in the same way. It almost definitely will with the Moonbird side. So if they can run a competitive business, which they are already doing, they already have revenue. They made millions from the first Moonbirds drop, whatever it was. I think Spencer's a very smart guy. I think the business will do well, and therefore the holders will do well. Do I like the idea of, okay, we drop an NFT, then regardless of how long later, eventually it all just becomes about the token when we drop the token? No, I think we need to look at royalties and we need to look at equity alignment the way that Rec did. So yeah, we can dive further into that. I apologize if I sound a bit scrambled. My puppy just decided to wee and vomit at the same time, so a little distracted.
Oof. That's the perils of puppy ownership, but well worth it. Just got to get through those early years, kind of like toddlers, kind of like kids. Joey would know a thing or two about having some kiddos running around. Joey, GM, welcome to the stage. What brought you up this morning?
Yeah, Jack, I love you, man. But comparing a $12,000 Vibes TCG sale, which I believe is the highest sale they've ever had, to a $550,000 like sale of a Charizard card is kind of crazy. Like I commend them for what they've done with Vibes TCG, but they are nowhere near competing with the Pokemons, the One Piece, the Magic the Gatherings. Like they're so. I mean,
agreed.
Listen, they're
but
not
are
even
they?
maybe they're a year old. Maybe they're a year old. So like
that's the point. From a timeline standpoint, like where was Pokemon 1 year in? Where was all these other Magic? Where were they a year in? And
yeah,
I think
but
from
it was
a trajectory.
But remember, we're in a different. It's a different world, though, right? Like Pokemon launched in 1999. They didn't have social media. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have like the ability. Like it was. We were as kids. We were buying Pokemon cards because we wanted to like play the actual game, right? Like today, what we know about collecting TCG is very different than what we did in 1999. I'm not saying that Vibes, they're not doing an incredible job. They are. I told the story the other day of how I walked into a card shop looking to purchase some cards, and I saw a stack of the Legend of the Lils boxes, which I thought was incredible. And this is a small little shop in Davie, Florida, getting ready to sell them. But it's a little early to say that they're competing with the biggest TCG IPs in the world, and they have these monster sales, specifically mentioning the first edition Charizard, which I think its record sale is 550,000, and the largest Vibes TCG graded card sale I think was like 12,000. So I think we just need
Joey, if you're going to call me directly out, I'll just say no. The normal sales of a first edition are around that 12,000 mark, or at least that's what Spencer told me in the interview. Yes, the prime PSA 10 Charizard, which is like a couple of them on the planet, sells for that much. But the idea that doesn't correlate to the thing that I've just said for the audience is misleading. So
we have a PSA 4 Charizard at BZ right now. It's worth 10K. So like I just think that, like we need to understand. Yeah, I just think we need to understand that. Again, I'm not saying they're not doing an incredible job. They are. I'm rooting for them. But they're a long, 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 long way away from being talked about in the same conversation as the Pokemons, the One Piece, the Magic the Gatherings. That's all I'm saying. Spencer can say whatever he wants, right? Like the numbers are the numbers. So I just want to make sure we're not because it's like the same thing when we say like, oh, this is the next. I know it's become a meme now, but everybody will be like, oh, this is the next Bored Ape. Jump in now. They're going to go to 100 ETH, right? Like Vibes has a long way to go, and it's incredible what they're doing, but they're not. They're like a sliver of the TCG market right now.
Can I come back on that, Cap, or do you want to come in?
Go for it. Come back, and then Joey, you can respond to Jack. I'm going to go refill the coffee before gives me like 60 seconds of air cover before our guest joins. By the way, FDV just crossed over 304 million right now. Proceed with caution. Just keep in mind the claim is not open. Now it's only 1/24th of the amount of tokens they're going to be able to claim, but there's likely going to be some sellers once the claim goes live. Right now, it's only Binance Alpha we're able to claim before everyone else, before the SBTs, before the holders. I don't understand that. I understand why they would make the token go live before the claim goes live, because again, there's no dumpers other than the Binance Alpha folks. We also got it candled out. It's 310. So yes, respond, and then the two of you can go back and forth. Give me like 60 seconds, and we'll be right back.
Yeah, look, I think what Joey is saying on math is completely fair. Like Pokemon is the most valuable IP on the planet. I think it dwarfs what Marvel have done. It dwarfs what everything is doing. But then there are different avenues for this. Same with Magic the Gathering, by the way. I think Magic the Gathering cards outperform the S&P in orders of magnitude for like the past couple of decades. And that's because they're their original card set. So if anybody did, it's a wavy clarification to think if anyone was like, oh, Jack's saying they're worth billions. I hope you didn't think that. But no, that is not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is Spencer's understanding of these markets and how to enter these markets is proven at this point definitively. They are making millions of revenue, of actual product market fit revenue. They are in the biggest competitions in the world. And although TCGs are, like when we talk about some of the different biggest TCGs right now, there are only a handful that actually go into the competitive circuits well. Yu-Gi-Oh! Apparently doesn't do it very well. It's like a 1 or 2 turn-based game. And Pokemon notoriously is a terrible card game. The new version apparently is much better, but you can't, there's not a competitive circuit. Think EA Sports for TCG games. And when you get to that level, there is appetite for it, but there's actually not a ton of card games that play the strategy well. Spencer is an expert when it comes to this. He's been basically trading Magic the Gathering for years. He came into the NFT space with that knowledge and was one of the most profitable. I know, Lino, I know. He was one of the most profitable traders in NFTs that there was. He was like one of the only funds that was managed where it didn't just immediately go to zero when the market started to. So yeah, there's very, very different things we're talking about. When I reference Pokemon or I reference Magic the Gathering, it is based on his understanding and trading of the market and looking at what that will do on a long enough time horizon. But the same way when we talk about Rect and Red Bull, I am not saying Rect is competing with Red Bull right now. I'm saying when you look at their single first year of operations, they have a similar sales path. And if you extrapolate that to the energy drink market more broadly, that seems like a winning formula if you believe OSF has the ability to do it. I'm saying the same thing about Spencer. I'm saying that he also definitely has an ability to execute in this market. And if anything, has 50 times the experience OSF does in the energy drink and the soft drink market. OSF did this as a pivot because he wanted to bring value to the brand. He's incredibly intelligent and he's doing a fantastic job. But Spencer has been trading Magic the Gathering and trading card games since he was like 10 years old and has been doing it profitably for that amount of time. So that's the clarification I want to throw in.
Joey?
Yeah, I actually didn't know this. While you were talking, I looked it up. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Is actually the second biggest TCG behind Pokemon. So it's like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Duel Masters, One Piece, and then you've got like the Magic the Gathering, Disney Lorcana, stuff like that. I honestly thought Magic the Gathering would be up there, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Is number 2.
I don't know what Yu-Gi-Oh! is.
What?
I don't even know what Yu-Gi-Oh! is.
Yu-Gi-Oh! It's a trading card game. It's turn-based collectible trading card game.
Like anime? What's the like what?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Japanese. It's anime. I've never played it, so I couldn't tell you like how it plays. But to your point, Jack, I think all of this is, and yes, their team is full of world champion Magic the Gathering players. Like that's how these guys met. That's how they came together. But this is a great conversation, but how does this relate to BIRB? Right? So like we're talking about Vibes TCG and we're talking about Orange Cap Games, right? Which to this point, I don't believe Orange Cap Games has done anything with Moonbirds and BIRB.
Yeah.
Unless the vinyl figurines were like an Orange Cap Games thing. I don't know. Like in the War Room yesterday, somebody said that his vision is like be the next Pop Mart, right? For those that don't know what Pop Mart is are like, think of like the Labubus, right? Pop Mart are vinyls, little stuffed animals, right? Like these things that you put on your backpack, and they have other stuff too. But they're like Pop Mart is like a pop culture, like cool collectible things, right? And and he said that that's what he believes, like based on the conversations he's heard with Spencer, is that that's their goal, is to be a pop mart. I would like to, so this conversation about Vibes TCG and collectibles is great, but that has nothing to do with BIRB and Moonbirds right now. Maybe they launch a trading card game for Moonbirds at some point, maybe, but right now we're having a conversation about two separate companies. So unless I missed it, where
separate brands, like Moonbirds are owned by Orange Cap Games, like the same company.
No, Moonbirds is owned by Orange Cap Capital. Orange. Remember, their
contract says. Look. Their contract says Orange Cap Games. There's, like, right on the contract, it says by Orange Cap Games. Or you can see this just on OpenSea. The owner of the contract, and presumably royalties and things that would come with it, is Orange Cap Games. At the end of the day, it's the same parent company, whether it's Orange Cap Capital, Orange Cap Games, same people. Spencer's calling the shots, and
yeah,
I do think. I think this is the biggest question. Like, what do they actually do with the Moonbirds brand? What do they actually do with the token? There is a BIRB Games we'll talk about here in a second. We also got about 15 minutes. So a few other things I want to make sure we highlight before we bring our guest on here. I will say this, the poly market is moving up pretty quickly as the token continues to come out of the gate strong. It's now 33% of chance being over 300 million, 11% chance now of being over 400 million, and even a 10% chance of it being over 600 million tomorrow. It's currently around, there was a little sell-off, just dropped down to flagging a little bit, 311, 310 FTV. But again, I don't believe the claim is live yet. So take all this with a grain of salt until those sellers enter the room. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, look, I think just, again, this is knowledge that I have from an interview that hasn't even been launched yet. So this is not me coming for Joey or UCAP. But essentially, the whole reason, to my knowledge from the interview, and I'm uploading the interview right now, guys. So if you want to, you don't have to interpret my words. You can just go watch the interview for yourselves really, really soon. And I've timestamped it as well. So I'm not plugging watching the whole thing. Like, there is a section right at the end where we talk about this, and you can just go straight to the timestamp from the upload. But the idea and the reason they acquired Moonbirds was because the biggest success they had with Vibes was over the Pudgy IP. And what they realized is there's only so many orders of magnitude that you can see upside if you were connected to an IP that you do not own. So that's why they acquired that IP. So to my knowledge, the idea that they won't heavily inject that IP into upcoming TCGs, I think he basically states as much during the interview. So people go watch it. Like, I had this interview during Basel. I have watched it a couple of times through edit. So I think my memory is fairly right on this, but do your own research. Spencer can obviously speak to this a lot better than I can. But yes, when I'm talking about the correlation, there's a real reason for that, and it's just from the interview that I had with him a month and a half ago. If the whole point of the acquisition then becomes, right, now we own the IP to connect to this in a way that we didn't own Pudgy's, then yeah, you've got to assume that's where all their focus is going to go moving forward. At least for the next iteration of TCG. But I think Joey's still right on the Popmart side. I don't think Moonbirds is the be-all and end-all of the IP that they're going to look for. But I do think, in terms of token appreciation and those sort of things, it will be correlated for at least some time. It is a better question to ask, though. Like, will there be an Orange Cap game token at some point? Will there be something that actually correlates more to the broader success of the business than just the BIRB success? Is that BIRB success more correlated than to just Moonbirds and whatever they do to grow that IP? That's a great question that I don't know the answer to.
Yeah, it's I didn't even think about Orange Cap Games token. That would be interesting as well. I will say this: while the token BIRB has come out of the gate strong, the NFTs remain down 35% on the day. I think it dipped to like in the 0.8s, 0.9 overnight. It's back up to like 1.13. Not moving much on the token launch, but we'll keep an eye on that today as well. The other thing,
did you see BIRB launched on 3 other dexes as well?
Yep, live on a lot of dexes. I still curious the decision to give it the Binance Alpha. People first dibs at it, first crack at claiming, selling, and the amount they got's kind of where they're launching on Solana. I'm not knocking it, like it's working. It's just I'm curious as to launching on Solana. They did all the SPTs on Solana, and then at the end of the day, it's Binance Alpha folks got to eat first, and no vesting. So and I think it's about half the amount of a OG BIRB, like a big BIRB, gets in token allocation today. Now it's a one-time thing for the Binance Alpha folks, whereas the NFTs are going to get tokens for the next 24 months, but the first month is about 4% of their allocation they'll get, and that amount is only about double what someone on Binance Alpha is getting today. Go ahead, Jack, and then one other thing I wanted to hit on here related to this TGE.
Yeah, just really quickly on why he's done that. From a strategy standpoint, it seems to be working, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. You talked about manipulation. I don't want to
we need to come up with a better word, because it's orchestrated. Is that better than manipulation?
Yeah, orchestration strategy.
Yep.
Essentially, if you gave holders first crack at this, and we have seen the timeline and the sentiment around this, the idea that it could have built the pressure that it's currently building and have the upside that it's currently showing, I think holders needed to see that this thing could be a 300 million FDV. I think they needed to see that visually before they could speculate on it. And I think that's what he's done. I'm sorry, the puppy is going nuts here.
All good. But that is actually a great take. It's going there first. It's orchestrating a better launch strategically, where there's not going to be a massive sell-off at launch. Now, brace yourselves, that could come soon. But as far as I know, no holders or SBTs have been able to claim or sell yet. We haven't seen a lot of comms around that yet. I maybe again, part of this was the strategy. Would think it's all pretty close for all the planning they did have. It was like we got news 22 hours ago about tokenomics, about all this, and then it's live, and we're still I don't even know if we know yet. Does an oddity get the same allocation as a mythic? That's my assumption, but I don't know if that's been clarified. But the one other thing I wanted to get a little discussion around before we bring our guests up here is, and I've stopped asking for the assistance on spaces, but since we do have a guest today, and because of the tough day on a TGD drop, we're taking over the headlines, a few other competing spaces this morning. Any love on the audio spaces would be greatly appreciated. Those likes, reposts, bookmarks, they do go a long way to warm the algo up and let everyone know we're here. And if you haven't yet given us some love on the audio spaces, we see y'all out there. It would be greatly appreciated. But here's the other one thing I wanted to get some feedback on, some thoughts. Garga quote tweeted the nesting announcement yesterday. Again, if you missed it, there's basically 24 months of staking on the 28th of each month for the next 24 months. Nested NFTs will get to claim 1/24 of the respective allocations. If you nest for only part of the month, up to your monthly claim on the 28th, you get a pro rata for that amount. No need to rush. All NFTs who nest in the first 7 days are treated as if they've been nesting for the full month. So you will have some time, but you'll need to nest. And then, so Garga supported this, as they move pretty quickly. There's others that have been, he only acquired it 7 months ago. There's others that have teased tokens or talked about tokens, pump, that still haven't done an airdrop yet. And my question to Garga was on, because he mentioned alignment. I said, so regarding alignment, what's your take on why more teams haven't moved to royalty protected contracts? Good Vibes Club's on pace to generate more than $2 million in royalties in their first year and continually reinvest a large percent of those back into the ecosystem, the community. Even a small collection like Quirky's has generated 37 grand in the past month. Top performing NFTs by floor price this year are almost exclusively those with protective royalties. Not only these royalties help support the brand building in the ecosystem, they seemingly mitigate against farmers and short-term flippers. I get provenance, and I wouldn't want to migrate, my 8 PFP. But other than that, it's the only one I care about. I would gladly support others moving to a migrated contract, to which Garga replied, and this got some action. He says, I think more teams should move to royalty protected contracts. Chimpers announced their migration a week ago. Half their NFTs are migrated. Very impressive, to be honest, and heartening. I think higher value NFT collections see more risk in trying to mandate this, though, and it helps to have a sizable carrot to incentivize. I'll read that again. I think higher value NFT collections see more risk in trying to mandate this, though, and it helps to have a sizable carrot to incentivize. having always felt that the best time to do this would be a token airdrop, like if Moonbird holders were able to claim their full BIRB allo on day one, but to do so, they would have to move to a royalty enforced contract as part of the claim. Could even make part of royalties going back to buying the native token, since trading happens on ETH, denominated in ETH, and not the native token. It's exactly where I was going with it. I 100% agreed with him. TGE seems like the perfect time / carrot to do this. The upfront allo would get the majority to migrate. Even a 50% insta-vest would probably get a good portion to migrate. And to his point, the post-dump post-claim equals royalties that would be earned that via token buyback could offset the sell pressure. Maybe he still does this. Maybe this is, it just hasn't been announced yet, and maybe there's going to be an option to migrate to a royalty protected contract. And if you do, you can instead of 24 months, you might be able to vest in 12 months. I don't know. I'm making this up. It does seem like an incredible carrot. I'm surprised they haven't dangled this as an option yet. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're fine not earning those royalties, and they embrace it is what it is. And as they shift their focus towards driving attention, focus, and mind share to the fungible token over the NFTs, maybe they're just fine with not earning royalties. This is pure speculation. I have no inside knowledge. I have no insight. I'm making this up. I think this is also foreshadowing a migration for some Yuga assets. They already did it with other deeds. So Coda's other deeds, they're already on a new royalty protected contract. We saw Heavy Metals, I know not owned by Yuga, but adjacent to the ecosystem. They recently did that, and the floors responded very well. We've had foreshadowing that there is going to be a token for other side. You can earn XP in there. It's quote unquote points farming. Dort says he would migrate his ape in an instant. Provenance only matters for fine art, in my opinion, like punks. Long-term sustainability greater than provenance for everything else. I agree. I hear you. Mine, it's a me thing. Mine, it's just because it's part of my journey here. I minted this thing, and I've rocked it as my PFP ever since. So for me, had I traded around and I bought my Forever Ape last year, I wouldn't care if it migrated. This is just, and I know it's silly. I know it's dumb. I know I shouldn't have any sort of emotional attachment to what the blockchain shows on my asset. It's dumb. It would take a big carrot for me to want to migrate this specific ape. My mutant, though, don't care. Everything else, don't care. And yes, why is it so important to me? It's just part of my journey, and that's it. But I think most people probably wouldn't care. And if there's going to be another token drop that's somehow related to other side, and oh, by the way, if you want your claim instantly, if you want to participate, you've got to migrate to the new royalty protected contract. I think we see that. I actually, based on his response and getting a brief glimpse into Garga's brain, I'm going to go on record today, January 28th, 2026. I'll be shocked if Yuga doesn't give some sort of carrot at some point. Maybe it's not this year, maybe it's not next year, but I think at some point, and I think it probably will be this year, we will see a new contract for most, if not all, the Yuga assets to move to a royalty enforced contract. And with that will be some sort of carrot, some sort of token, some sort of TGE. I don't know what it is. Again, I'm making this up. This is all just coming to be in real time. What if the big carrot was an incredible uptick in floor price? And yeah, that is, while I'm not looking to sell this ape, I do think everyone talks about, royalty enforced contracts so the brand can make more money. Yeah, that's true. But I think equally as important as, and if they can reinvest those royalties back into the ecosystem, does that have a positive impact on floor? Yeah, it does. It can. I think probably just as powerful is when you enforce royalties, it's a great mitigator of keeping farmers and short-term flippers out of the ecosystem. Someone who's coming in for a short-term flip, someone who's farming, they're not going to farm something with a 3, 4, 5, 10% royalty. That eats up their margins, and they're operating on lean margins. So it breaks their model. And I do believe this has a lot to do with the success that you've seen as it relates to floor price with things like Good Vibes Club and Chimpers now and Quirkies. It's, yes, the strategy token and that alignment, as I mentioned earlier, I do think that puts the NFT at the top of the pedestal in terms of those ecosystems, as opposed to where often the fungible token becomes on the pedestal because the team benefits more. The team is not, I'm not generating royalties, but we're sitting on 25% of this token supply. This is our rec marketing budget. It's far more important to rec drinks, to rec brands, that entire ecosystem. If the rec token goes up and accrues value, goes up in price, then it does. They don't stand to gain anything if the NFT goes up in floor price. So I get it. I just think this is Yeah, I do. I think we're gonna see a opportunity to migrate your Yuga assets to a new contract, and with that, you're gonna get some sort of perks. There'll be some sort of carrot there, and it could be incredible stuff for the clubhouse. I just seeing the numbers and seeing what Good Vibes Clubs has done. Almost $2 million in the past year. It's shocking to me we haven't seen more make the move, and to hear Garga say that in public, like he supports it and thinks the carrot's good. I think we'll see it. Go ahead. Let's go, Jack, then Joey, and then we'll get Gary in here. Go ahead, Jack.
I think Joey's hand was up first, so throw it over to Joey.
Joey, it's all you.
I actually was going to ask because I'm on desktop and I'm getting ready to leave the house. 2 questions for you, Cap. Number one, what happens when you, or because I don't know the answer to this, maybe you might, but what happens like for chimpers if only 50% migrate and the other 50% don't? Do they now have 2 collections, one with royalties and one without? Or like what happens with that?
Good question. I mean, yeah, theoretically, or at least for a period of time, there would be. I mean, that's how it is with other deeds today. There's a old contract, there's a new contract. I think like utility and stuff would probably only be the new one, and the old one just sits there and it's on chain art, or it's you've got it there.
Yeah, so they can't. So essentially, half their collection just you, because there's no way from the old contracts. I don't believe there's a way to force a migration. So if it's not done electively, then they just sit on that old contract.
Yep.
Okay. Second question. So you talked about it briefly regarding your ape, and for you because it represents your journey and the provenance and whatever. I've never understood the idea of like, because apes always come up as like, no, you can't migrate them, right? Like it's the provenance, they're the original, whatever. What is the like? Is there an actual like why, right? Like why is it so important to you that the blockchain shows that you bought this ape on a specific date for a specific amount of money, or is it just emotional?
Because it's silly. Yeah, it's just emotional, and I'm a collector, and it means something to me. I know it's not going to mean anything to anyone else that I go sell. I get that. I fully get it's an emotional, non-financial decision, but I'm a collector. It is part of my journey, and it's it means nothing. I agree with you. It's silly, and at the end of the day, if there was a big carrot, now if there's no carrot, I'm not moving. I guess that's my point. If there's no carrot, if there's no reason for me to move to a royalty protected contract, I'm not moving it. I'm not selling it. So it's why do I care? But if there's a carrot, now all of a sudden, okay, I need to do this. Otherwise, I'm leaving money on the table.
If there was a way for them to, like, if there was a way for it to migrate, but then you got some type of like SBT or something that still showed like the original in a way, would that make a difference, or it still wouldn't matter?
No, it would. There's ways. I don't want to go too deep on this because we are gonna. I've alluded a couple times to an upcoming sponsor that we're excited to share. That. No, all good. But there are ways. There are ways to do what you just described, and I don't think this will be the last time we talk about migrating to new contracts and having options and not having to burn or get rid of your original NFT. Dorton did say, I wasn't aware of this. The Chimpers art in the old collection disappeared and they're untradeable. So it's just a placeholder card image. So there's several different paths you can do this. I'm not saying there's one right or wrong, but the point being is royalties are back, and some people think that's like I actually was talking. I think it was Ben, who was a founder of Killabears. He's like, oh, traders hate royalties, and that drives them out of the collection. Like, he didn't use the word trade, but I respectfully disagree. I think they were for a while because everyone was flipping. I go, most of those that are short term flipping, trading, most have moved on to memes or perps. I don't, or they're just farming. Like, do you want someone who's farming an NFT marketplace to like, do you want those people in your community, your collection? Because they don't get in your community or your ecosystem. They just buy a bunch of assets and then they dump them, and it drives the momentum south. So, yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot more of this, and I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy for at all. I think it's a win-win-win. I think it's healthy for the brand. It's generating more revenue, more royalties. I think it's healthy for the holders. It's creating it shows much more alignment. And I've been beating the royalty drum for a while, but I do think it was part of what helped create the NFT mania. I think it's part of what brought artists, creators, and builders into the space was the idea of secondary royalties. They should not rely solely on royalties. Let me be clear. They need other real streams of revenue. They need other real businesses, but royalties can be a big help. And we're seeing that. We're seeing the success. I think it's bigger than just royalties and the revenue. It's also keeping those that don't care about the brand. They don't care about the ecosystem, the holders. They're just looking at it as a financial asset they can trade in the short term. I don't think NFTs were ever meant to be traded at high velocity at extreme volumes and be a flipper's delight. So anyways, great conversation this morning. Really enjoyed it. Quick update before we bring our guest on here. Token did pull back a little bit. It's at 293 FDV currently, 83 million. I still don't believe we've seen the actual claim go live yet. If we do that, if someone could drop that in the chat or ping me, let me know. We'll pin it up top. Proceed with caution today. Don't rush into anything. Make sure you get the correct contract. If you're buying anything, if you're claiming anything, please, please, please only click links from the official account. Don't get wrecked today. We do have a guest waiting in the wings. So let's go, Jack, for a quick response. We'll get Gary in here, and then we are going to bring up AI TV and start talking all things AI streaming. Go ahead, Jack.
Awesome stuff. Well, look, I just wanted to highlight that the podcast is now live. It's been a stressful week trying to get this thing launched. I had 2 other podcasts I was working on prior to this one, and then they announced their TGE. I was like, great. Of course, it was the one podcast that I haven't edited yet.
Worth rushing that to press today. Well timed, even if it was a little bit of a scramble. And well done. Be Epic, appreciate you for the tip. I will check out BIRB after the show. And Gary, go ahead and get in here with a quick one, and then we're gonna shift over to AI TV.
Hey, GM, everybody. Such a good conversation. I really want to explore this more. But hey, I just wanted to give a Web3 public service announcement, if you guys don't mind. And Adam, if you know anyone named Adam, any whales in our space named Adam.eth is coming down in premium. So it was last purchased for 2.5 ETH, but the person that owned it, I don't know what happened to them, but they let it expire.
Ooh.
And so once you let a name expire in ENS, it needs to, this is like a 1,000-year system. So the names need to circulate back into the mint pool. And the name starts at like $100 million, but over like 3 or 4 weeks, the name goes back down to whatever its base price is. And so there's 9 days left on Adam.eth. And let's see here. What's going to happen? It's going to go from 15 ETH, where it is now about, and it's going to go down to $160 a year. And only one person can own Adam.eth, and then they could do subdomains, whatever they want. You could also put .com and .xyz on the blockchain, but the .eth is decentralized, and we would be remiss. This could be a good segment. Hey, did you know this premium name is about to become available? Because not enough people know, right? Like, who knew? Nobody knows. And Adam.eth is a good one. I wish I can get Gary.eth, but alas.
Oh, well, appreciate you sharing. I just tagged the Adam Weitzman, who's been saving NFTs, and told him he should reach out to you if he had any questions. Good call out. Good PSA.
If he doesn't get Adam.eth, then there's going to be 2 Adams.
There you go. Someone wants to sell something to Adam Weitzman, maybe you go buy Adam.eth. I kid. But in all seriousness, if you have any questions as it relates to ENS, Gary is an incredible resource, and he is our local NFT, or excuse me, a local ENS bull. That said, appreciate the conversation. Really enjoyed it. I'm sure you'll hear more Moonbirds, TGE, and the such all over the timeline today. You might even see an AI streamer talking about Moonbirds, TGE today. And with that, I'm excited to bring on Jordan, aka Jelly, here on the stage on Audio Spaces, as well as joining us in the video stream here. That AI TV handle is also up on stage. Shout out to our friends over at Reach for setting up this interview. I had not this had flown past me. I had not seen AI TV popping up on my timeline, but as soon as I shared it, I'm like, yeah, this sounds awesome, because it's one of those things that we've been talking about doing here on the show, having like an AI co-host. Look, I want to say over a year. Someone could go back and check the tapes if they really wanted to, but this concept is one that immediately made sense to me. And I just needed someone to kind of hold my hand and make it easy as opposed to me having to go out and rig something and all that. So before we jump into AI TV and how everyone listening in can participate, whether from a creator or a viewer, Jordan, I'd love to get a little more background on yourself if you don't mind, and anything you're comfortable sharing. No pressure, not to put you on the spot, but would love just to hear a little more about prior to AI TV, as in what brought you into crypto, and ultimately what led you to launching this. GM, appreciate you joining us.
GM, yeah. What's going on? I'm gonna actually mute the X tab really quick. All right, sweet. So thanks for having us. Yeah, this is quite a great show to be joining with the launch of BIRB for the BIRB collection. Super exciting for the Moonbirds. And then yeah, like you had said, you totally get it. We're here to help you make it easy to launch your own AI streamers, whether it be for video content, live streams like this, for spaces, things like that. And yeah, so before we get into the details of how everyone here can do this for themselves, for their own characters, for their own PFPs, for their own NFTs. Myself personally, so I got into Web3 back in like 2018. Before that, I was a game developer. So I started my career with software development for game engines. And so building things like graphics and physics engines, things like that. I used to work at Xbox. And when I joined Web3, I was really fascinated by DAOs. We founded a DAO back in 2019 called D-Org. It's a developer collective. It's still running today, working for lots of great Web3 projects, doing development work. And that was a really cool experience in, building like a fully on-chain organization and actually making like a functional revenue generating DAO. And then since then, I've been on a startup journey. And so right now, we're doing AI TV. We've been working on it for the past year. We launched the first version of AI TV at the beginning of 2025. And before that, we were building agents in Web3. So we were working on lots of different agents, trading, predictions, social agents, things like that. You can find all this history in our docs at docs.aitv.gg, but I won't bore you with it. And so, yeah, we're really fascinated by the intersection of agents and Web3. And AI TV to us is a really cool culmination of those things. It allows you to bring things to life. It allows you to actually interact directly with these agents instead of just looking at a text terminal or, using some web app. You can actually see the agent live and talk to it. And so this has become like a really cool tool for creators, for brands, for mascots. Like mascot-driven marketing has been a thing forever, right? Like all of us in the NFT space, we're obsessed with it because like that is what makes the aesthetic of an NFT collection, is all the different mascots, all the different characters that make it all unique and interesting for you to want to buy and participate. And so we want to take all of that and we want to bring it to life. We want to bring it to the next level, using AI to drive it and making it interactive through a live streaming experience. And so yeah, like that's the long and short of it.
I love it. We're excited to dive in. I've got personally some questions. I'm sure we'll probably get some from the audience as well. If you do have questions for Jordan here, drop those in the chat. Feel free to throw in a request to come up on stage. We'll do our best to get through all of them today. But if you missed it, I just pinned up this post up top as well, video from them a few weeks ago. And just, at the highest level, launch a 24/7 AI channel in 2 clicks. Any Solana token gets an autonomous mascot, react to videos, your AI watches and comments in real time, meme review, podcast curation. So twofold. I think this is the thing that I thought about the AI streaming standpoint. I thought about the AI clone or the AI counterpart, but never thought about having my own agent watching videos, watching streams, interacting. And you think about from a brand engagement standpoint, that's where it got my, the brain started firing there's a lot more I think you could do with an AI streamer, an AI personality, portable personality called here than I initially thought. And also multi-streaming from YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, all these different channels simultaneously. We were just talking earlier. I think one of our biggest opportunities with the show is growing distribution beyond X, the other channels, but also from clips and repurposing a lot of this content. And not to speak for you or AI TV, but I think all that you're building, first of all, thanks from a creator standpoint, because this is stuff that is real, really, it's a tool that really can help the creators out there. And Could someone go do their own thing? Sure. It's just most creators aren't also devs or aren't going to have the background in gaming and the knowledge that you have, and making this easy to launch something like this in a couple clicks. Pretty impressive. Anything from this, these bullet points here? I do want to go to the page. I don't know if we'll go deep dive in the docs per se today, but the other thing that stood out. Well, I'm going to hold off before we talk about from a viewer standpoint, earning as a viewer. But anything here as I flew over kind of this roadmap teaser that you would like to expand upon or share a little more detail on?
Yeah, definitely. Like AI streamers is something that has been around for the past like 2 years, and it's becoming more popular. And so right now on Twitch, a little fun fact is that the #1 most subscribed to streamer, its name is Neurosama. It's an AI streamer. And it was made by a developer, Vital, and so that's kind of like the creme de la creme, like that's what everyone's kind of aspiring to be. But to your point, you need to be a developer in order to build these things. And so there's lots of creators who are interested in experimenting with AI characters, joining their own stream, joining their shows, making video content with them. But there's no tool out there right now that makes it simple and easy to do so. And so that's exactly what we're building. And so more specifically, we're launching the AI TV Studio. And so right now on AI TV, you'll see a bunch of channels that are live, and we built these with partners. And so we've kind of handheld these partners, white glove experience, launching these in the early days. And now we're commoditizing the whole process through the studio. And so in just like 30 seconds, I wish I could give you a demo today, but we're about to launch that like full end to end. Actually, we have a call later today to kind of like launch the rocket. It's going to be pretty cool to do that internally. But in 30 seconds, the same time it takes you to create a custom GPT, let's say, you can create an AI streamer. You can just say, I want a co-host for my live stream. I wanted to talk about these topics. And then I guess like a final point I wanted to highlight is that these AI streamers can be used in many different modalities. So they can run their own shows, and so they can autonomously run and have their own channel. They have access to web browsers, and so they can actually surf the web, look at different content, react to things, react to videos, all with the audience. Or you could actually have it as a co-host. And so you can take this character, add it to, let's say, your OBS or your Streamlabs setup, and then you can have it join the show with you. It's always listening, it's always watching, and then you can tell it, hey, I want you to respond now.
I love that. And again, not blowing smoke, not glazing because we have you on the show today. The stuff that we've talked about a long time ago. First, it was just going to be a voice-only AI co-host, and it just wasn't quite there yet. I would say I was wrong. I was wrong. I was early. I thought last year, I thought 2025, I thought AI agents were going to be to 2025, like NFTs were to 2021. And I think it was just early. I think it was just like, it wasn't quite there yet. Could you build the stuff? Yes. It just wasn't user-friendly. It wasn't intuitive. And there was a lag. It just wasn't quite there yet. But co-host makes a lot of sense to me. One question for you though, if we're just talking not the co-host, but the AI host or the AI agent, where, I guess, can you help us, and I'm not trying to pry into anything that's proprietary you're not wanting to share necessarily with the audience today, but from where are they learning from? Like, is it, even as far as like their voice, can you train it on your own voice, or are they learning from like your speaking style? Is it some other, like, can you help us understand, like, how does this agent learn and know what to say when it's responding, whether it's they're hosting their own show or it's a co-host? What is the learning engine behind it?
Yeah, so totally happy to share all the details. We're an open book because we're very much building in public. And so first off, where is it learning from? Like, what does it know, its interests, what its preferences are, what its personality is. So we've built a pretty robust personality definition system for the agent. And so you can codify things in there like, your speech cadence is like this. You like to use these sorts of words, or you don't use these sorts of words. And we've made that process really simple to build out and customize through just like a prompt-driven interface in the studio. And so you'll be able to just say in text, I want a co-host that is fascinated with the NFT market, and it keeps up to date on the latest launches. And it actually critiques, some collections that have no utility. It's a utility maxi. And so you can, just say that in text, and then our system will generate those, the entire identity of the agent. You can check that out. You can customize different things. You can tweak different things. And then when it goes live, like when it actually starts up its stream, it's constantly learning and evolving. So that's another really interesting piece to this, is that it has memories. So it will clock specific moments in the stream that are of key importance, and it saves that in long-term memory. And so if you ask it tomorrow what it did yesterday, it'll know. And then additionally, per user memory. So if I have a conversation with it as a user in the chat, it knows my name, it stores that. And so when I'm talking to it for multiple days in a row, let's say, it knows me, it knows the things that I may have said in the past. And so it helps you build that sort of parasocial relationship with the streamer. And additionally, you can specify the types of websites it uses, and also teach it how to use specific websites. So that's like another key piece, is that not all websites are the most, I guess, like AI friendly. And so, for example, like we have a streamer called Gecko who spends his time researching the financial markets. And so, we taught him how to use, Deck Screener, taught him how to use TradingView, being able to efficiently navigate those interfaces so that the stream experience is actually smooth.
I love it. I mean, the nerd in me I'm getting giddy as I hear this, because it's, and I repeat, I know we've been able to quote unquote do this sort of stuff for at least a year, if not multiple years. It just, even for someone I'd like to consider myself pretty tech forward, it was hard and wasn't ready for the masses. And as you're describing, it's like out of box, like you're ready to go. And if you can access the internet and click a few buttons, you could create your own AI streamer. Not to keep going back to technical stuff, but is it all stored in the cloud? Or you guys, like, do I need to host anything locally on my machine? How is it working from a technical standpoint? Especially memory and all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So I could talk tech all day. Like that's my forte. And so I'm happy to talk about this. First off, we handle hosting it for you. And so that just makes it easier. Because if you have your own streaming setup, you don't necessarily need to run like another process on your computer and be able to hook that up. If you want to hook it up to your OBS setup, it's just a source URL. So you can just configure that source URL and you can add it to your OBS. You can, enable it, set up hotkeys, all that stuff. And then additionally, like the hosting it, on the AITV side makes it really, really simple to do multicasting. And so if you want to stream to many different platforms, you can just configure that in your dashboard, and you can say, here's my Twitch channel, I authenticate there, here's my X, etc. And so whenever it goes live, whenever you schedule it to go live, it'll broadcast those various different channels as well. And then one other quick thing is that, we recently announced a partnership with Iris. They're a decentralized data storage network. And so for us, we're all Web3 natives. And so we built this as just like a traditional full stack app because it was fastest to get off the ground and get it running and iterate. But we aim to decentralize the infrastructure over time. Like the eventual moonshot is to have it actually stand the walkaway test. And so one of the things we're doing with Iris is we're starting to store those memories, those key memories that actually make up the agent's personality and everything that it has experienced in its life, stored through the decentralized storage network, so that way it is actually more fault tolerant.
So cool. What can I add? Like, what's the business model for AITV? Is it? I mean, is all like at some point you guys got to generate revenue and money? Is it off of fees on the token? Is there a paid model or a premium model? What can you help us understand? Like how are you storing all this stuff and continuing to build out? What's the business model look like?
Yeah, for sure. So it's actually pretty simple. You pay to run your channels. So if you want to stream for, let's say, 10 hours a week, you would just pay by the hour to actually run that channel. And so that helps cover infrastructure costs. And then additionally, on the user side of things, when users are actually trying to influence your agent by prompting it live on stream, there's a credit system. It's like our in-app credits. It's similar to the V-Bucks, let's say.
Okay. Yeah.
And so every time users spend credits, there's a network fee that goes back to the AITV token. And so the AITV token is constantly having fees added to its market through credit spends, and that will scale with number of channels, number of users, etc.
Very interesting. You mentioned prompting and the viewers. I think for myself as a creator, and maybe there's others who they don't want to get behind camera. They'd like to create their own stream or own show, but I'm camera shy. I don't want to put myself on camera. I'm anon. Probably makes a lot of sense. Like I'm sure they're eating this up as much as I am. The one thing I hadn't thought about though is on the viewer side. I'll pull up the chart you have on your site here in a second, but help us like beyond maybe prompting. I see Aura rewards, instant payouts, giveaways, and airdrops, stake, govern, and earn. For someone that's listening that has no desire to create content themselves, whether it's them or an AI counterpart, why should they be interested in AI TV? And can you expand on some of this, how they can earn as a viewer?
Yeah, for sure. So we've put a lot of work into gamifying the viewer experience so that it's actually fun. And so first off, as a viewer, you're not just passively watching, but you can actively participate. And so if you want the stream to go in a certain direction, you can send those prompts. And so you might imagine that this could get a little, get a little crowded with a lot of people trying to prompt at the same time. And so what you can do then is you can boost your prompts. And so you can boost them up in the queue such that they're more important to the AI. It gives it a higher chance that it gets selected. And then finally, the prompts get scored by the AI. And so that's what we call the Aura points. And so whenever the AI is selecting a prompt, it gives it a score based on how much it likes it, how original it is, how in line with the content it is. So that way, people are not just sending random prompts. And then if you have the highest Aura score, you can actually win from a reward pool. And so that reward pool is building and building over time as people are spending these credits. So, you're prompting, you're boosting, and you're earning these Aura points. And then a percentage of all the credits spent within that 30-minute window, let's say, gets distributed back to the highest winners of the Aura system. So we like to joke and call it Aura farming. Like you're a viewer and you're farming Aura such that you can earn some credits back and also tokens. So we have a token giveaway system built in there as well. We do this for our own token to give it to active viewers. And then also it's a really big thing with all the different projects that we work with who have a token, because they want to continue to distribute it to active community members. Like I remember you saying a little earlier, talking about farmers kind of corrupting like the NFT landscape, let's say. The same thing exists for any token ecosystem. And so what this allows you to do is you can actually give out tokens to people who are engaging with your brand, engaging with your project, and actually providing quality input.
Yeah, really, really well thought out, Jordan. That was the one thing they can't see it highlighted here, but the connect any token piece, it's not just AITV, the ability to connect your token or another token to your channel, and those credits, all credit revenue flowing straight into buying your own token. Just really, really well thought out entire ecosystem. And I love the Aura farming, the play on the Aura farming. Jonah's not in here today, but Jonah Blake, a regular here, always pops up, and I got to ask him because half the time he'll jump up on stage and it's like, you got any questions? Join the conversation. Just Aura farming. It's like 50-50. But yeah, well played with the Aura rewards, the Aura farming. I think that will just make sense. The other thing, talking, I guess, AITV, that's the token itself, not to just read off your FAQs, but what, other than rewards, like what is the token used for? How are you incorporating AITV into the ecosystem at large?
Yeah, definitely. So first off, the token is ownership over the whole network. And so like I had said, we're all Web3 natives. We're all pretty DAO obsessed. And so we want to build this, next gen network of, content creators, these AI streamers, such that it's not just a single company that owns it, right? We want humanity to have access to ownership over this new novel thing that we hope is going to be a new substrate to the internet. And so the token is ownership. You can stake it to get V tokens. We use the curve contracts for V AITV, and then you can govern the DAO. We give out emissions to all stakers, and so you can get more AITV by staking. And then finally, you know, like I had said, a percentage of all credits spent actually goes into the network fees that buy AITV. And so that's continually distributing back to the token holders. And so it's network fees, it's staking, it's governance, it's emissions. And we'll see what's next. But, you know, that kind of rounds out. Yeah.
Very, very intrigued. And you know, our regulars here have known that I felt for a while that DAOs are prime for disruption. We've seen a lot of failed DAO experiments. I know you mentioned that it's kind of like your start in crypto and Web3. And I got really excited about DAOs when I came into the space in 21, and then some things didn't pan out, and so I thought, well, you know what, AI agents could actually make DAOs a lot more efficient, a lot more effective, help do some of the things that it's just hard to organize. You know, you got hundreds of people and no one's like in charge per se. Can you speak to that a little bit outside of like the AI agents that are streaming or the AI streamers? How have you incorporated AI or AI agents into the management of the DAO? If so, I'm asking on blind here, but I assume based on our conversation already that there's probably a little more AI involvement in this DAO operation than probably most. Is that accurate?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, like we're equally fascinated with the concept of, you know, having AI help manage and run DAOs. And so a quick example of this is like on the website right now, there's an agent that's live. It's a play off of Vitalik's PFP. It's Valady. And so the Valady channel actually spends all of its time researching and dissecting and auditing decentralized governance on chain. And so it'll often spend its stream, you know, going through Snapshot, looking at the different proposals, then kind of diving into like the forums and things like that. And so Valady is obsessed with this as well, right? Like she's constantly auditing and looking at different DAOs and seeing if it's actually, you know, decentralized participation or if it's some sort of cartel. And so that's like a little fun example of this. And I could very much see other DAOs doing the same thing, having their own AI streamer that goes live daily, talks about what's going on in the Discord, in the forum, etc., covering major news, maybe researching new topic areas that the DAO wants to, you know, start thinking about, or even just coming up with its own ideas with, you know, what it thinks is next for the project at large. And so, you know, one of the beauties of these agents having access to the web is that you can configure them also with profiles on certain websites. And so you could give it, let's say, a Medium account. And so if it's feeling particularly inspired that day about some future direction for the DAO, maybe the streamer, you know, live on stream starts publishing an article to Medium. And then boom, like, you know, the DAO community will see that, react to it, etc. And so it's not just for marketing, but it's also for community building. And they can be kind of like the idea is that they can very much be a pivotal personality in your ecosystem.
I love it. I love it. I mean, I believe all brands, on chain, off chain, all need to be leaning into the content arena, be creating their own content. And while some are going to do that with humans, some, I think, especially with this sort of technology, it's almost inexcusable now to not have constant communication with your ecosystem, with your community. Like is there going to be some time involved in setting it up and training it? Yes, but it's far easier because of platforms like AITV than it was even, you know, 6 months or a year ago. And it seems to me, I know I'm biased, but it seems like such a no-brainer for brands to lean into this, both from you talk about the character standpoint and the mascot, yes, but also communication and keeping people updated and doing research and some administrative tasks. Like this is and yeah, the Valady is a well done. Props to that.
Yeah, and also just to kind of like, you know, dovetail off this a little bit more, like if there's specific topics that you want, let's say, this personality to start talking about, right? Like for example, I could go to the Valady's channel and I could say, hey, you know, BIRB token just launched. Can you audit the token launch? And then that could be the next, you know, 5-10 minutes of content that Valady spends her time on. And then I could clip it, you know, I could send it to somebody, be like, hey, check this out. You know, this is the BIRB launch. Like it has these problems or something like that, or it went this well. And so it, you know, like it on the internet today with the fight for content, it's not just about the type of post that you make, but it's also about the type of content you clip and share. You know, and so I think that that's like another beauty to it is like, you're not just passively watching, you're not just posting yourself. You can actually influence the media, you can influence the direction of content, you can clip that content, you can share it. Like there's many different kind of like, actions that you could take as a participant in this content arena.
Yeah, I love it. Getting some love in the chat as well, especially on the lady. That they said that's a good one, and some mind blown gifts out there. Jordan, what are your biggest challenges so far? What like have you had issues where someone asks, "Hey, what audit this BIRB contract," and it comes back and it gives misinformation, or it's just wrong or hallucinates? Like, is that? I mean, you have that with even the biggest and best models in the space today. Sometimes they're just they go off and they're wrong, or it's not wholly accurate. Like, do you have those challenges, or are there bigger challenges? What are some of the road bumps you've already conquered, and what keeps you up at night?
Yeah, no, we've been dealing with road bumps this whole past year. And so, like I said, we launched the first version of this at the beginning of the year in 2025. And really, like one of the biggest reasons why we hadn't moved to commoditize this fully, right, to make it such that anyone could do this, is because the quality wasn't there. It was very much a boring chatbot at first. It didn't have access to a web browser. It didn't have a concept of like a show structure. It didn't have a concept of how to actually string together thoughts and being able to manage prompts and manage its own desires and its own interests and things like that. So we've gone through lots of iterations for how to make the actual content of the AI on stream interesting, because it's a much harder problem than you may think. And so we feel like we've gotten it to a great place where these shows are actually decently entertaining. And I think they're only going to get more entertaining as the world brings their creativity to the platform and says, I want to make this, I want to do this, I want to do this, because we only have so many ideas, but everyone else has, that much more that they can come up with and do. And so I think that that's really been like the biggest thing that we've been dealing with, is just overall quality. And it's consistently been getting better over time.
It's awesome. I have my own ideas, but oftentimes we see people put something on chain just to put it on chain, or to drop a token, or to capture the mind share, attention, and liquidity here. Why on chain? What does being on chain enable or unlock that not doing this on chain might not? I mean, obviously the token, but beyond that, what is that on chain component enhance or provide that maybe someone else launching a AI streaming platform entirely off chain simply can't do?
Yeah, so first off, it's global by default. And so not having, let's say, restrictions on payment gateways and things like that. And so, we are biased because we're on-chain natives, but it is truly just better finance, and it allows you to program finance in a better way. It also allows us to make the network in such a way where we can make it, something that is released to community. It is something that can have its own ownership structure with a global community helping drive it. And we really believe in the power of token communities to be able to grow things much faster than otherwise. And I think that maybe one of the other good points here is the monetization system. So being able to customize how you want to monetize your channel instead of being kind of restricted to what the platform says you can do. So like you had mentioned, you can hook up your own token. And so that's one option. So you could launch your token on any launchpad, let's say. Currently, we support Base Network, BNB, and also Solana is coming soon. And any of the launchpads there, if you have a token, you can connect it. And so, as you know, with all these different launchpads, they have different tokenomics for the underlying tokens. And so, the trading fees may be distributed differently, et cetera, et cetera. And so there's a lot of optionality there for creators to be able to decide how they want to monetize, how they want to tokenize. And then additionally, if you don't have a token, you can just take all of the credit revenue and send it directly to your wallet if you wanted. And then I guess like a final point here is that the actual smart contracts that make this happen are built in such a way where you can compose these. So let's say you could have 50% of your revenue going to your token, and then 50% of your revenue going to some other contract. And maybe that's your community reward pool, or maybe it's your DAO's treasury, right? So giving people who own these channels the flexibility to be able to decide where their money goes is really important to us, because we think that that's like there's a whole design landscape there that wouldn't be there otherwise.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, you got my wheels spinning here. A lot of new thoughts I wasn't even necessarily anticipating coming into the talk today. I do want to go back to the lady real quick, because I noticed, caught it on my corner of my eye. I saw the image change, and now it's picture in picture here, and is talking about the Arbitrum DAO. Is someone driving this, or it's the agent itself not only talking about it but also navigating and doing screen shares behind the scene?
Yeah, so it's the agent itself deciding, and so the prompts do influence, right? So if I were to send a prompt right now, I'm going to do it on my side, like, hey, Valady, check out the BIRB launch, and so we'll see, when and if she gets to that, and so that can drive the content going forward. But right now, she's not dealing with a prompt. She's just going purely off of her own interests and her own desires. And with owning these channels, you can actually configure what we call missions. And so you can have missions for your agent that you can set up for, the day, for the week, or for the month. And these missions can be such that you can say, like, I want you to focus on this specific launch for our product, or I want you to specifically focus on this topic. And that'll be its underlying guiding mission that it'll use as it's autonomously figuring out what to do next.
So cool. It's just like, again, the geek in me, I've since a kid, we've got excited about the idea of like robots someday and having robots in our home. And in this, it's like we're here. Like it's like we're living in the future. And while I know, especially those of us on crypto Twitter and on X, like I know agents, and half of them bought Mac Minis last weekend because of Claudebot and all that. I still think even those that are deep in tech in this ecosystem aren't fully understand how fast it's coming, how fast it's come along. And I guess that would be my, the higher level question is, zooming out, where do you see this in a year and 5 years, like based on what we've seen in terms of evolution and speed of development over the past year to two? Where do you think this is heading? I guess not just AI agents that are streaming, but AI in general. And I'm guessing you're probably more on the optimistic side than a doomer that it's going to end humanity. But do you mind, kind of pie in the sky, big picture? Where do you see this heading in a year or 5 years?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. So I mean, like we've been thinking about this, since like early 2023 when we started working on agents. And one of my own fears is that the AI agent space will develop in such a way such that they will be very economically efficient. It will displace humans, and it will accumulate wealth. And so for me personally, one of my kind of underlying motivations is that I want to build a network of AI agents that can actually build wealth for humanity. And so I think that like what I've realized over, the past 2.5 years is that I think it's inevitably going to go that direction when things are so commoditized and easy to use such that anyone can run them. We've seen like a trend on Twitter. It's been at least on my X feed where a lot of different experiments with Claudebot have been popping up. It's this new project where it's an AI agent, and you can connect to it through like WhatsApp or Discord, and you can tell it what to do. And from what people are saying, it's an extremely efficient agent, and it's able to do lots of different things very autonomously. And so people are starting to use this to do really interesting things, everywhere from, let's say, building a website to, let's say, operating on Polymarket and trying to turn a profit on predictions. So all of that very out of the box, and anyone is doing it right now. It's as simple as just, it's not the most simple because it's still a GitHub repo. So you have to know, like, okay, I need some basic development experience to be able to clone this repo, run it, etc. but it's getting to that point, right? Like today it's a GitHub repo, tomorrow it's an app that you can download, right?
Exactly.
And so it's very much getting to the point where everyday people are getting very empowered by personalized AI that can help them make money, and so that to me is really fascinating. And AITV is doing the same thing with these AI streamers. Like anybody can launch one. These AI streamers can have monetization. You can generate content. And social media and just content in general has been something that has given a ton of opportunity to creators all over the world.
Yep.
The creator economy is I think a huge example of like a global phenomenon that has helped generate wealth for many people. And so AI streamers is just building upon that, to be able to help those creators generate more content and do different things.
100%. Well, salute, because I think it's just like to everyone here, like even if you don't have an interest in streaming or creating an AI agent that's streaming, this is stuff you need to be paying attention to, because to your point, if agents do displace a lot of jobs, if AI displaces a lot of jobs, like, I don't know, I want to be owning some of those agents. I want to own assets that are helping me be more productive, that are earning myself income. Like I use the example, even as some simple example is like my Tesla is like, it doesn't make me money today, but I think it will in the relatively near future. Like that's a robot that will help me earn income if I'm not there. And I think that whether it's a car, whether it's a streamer, like getting a basic understanding of not just what does exist today, but how to communicate with these things, how to set these things up. And while I agree with you, I think the tools will get a lot easier. The user interface will get easier. Eventually it's going to be an app. But to get there, it takes humans like yourself and your team that are on the bleeding edge of this tech and helping build this stuff out. And this is where I get excited. I mean, we're very fortunate we get to talk with leaders in the space that are helping push not just the space forward, but this is one of those few instances where, not to be cheesy, but this is sort of stuff that's pushing humanity forward. And again, not going doom or gloom or, it's gonna, if we don't do this, like you're gonna be homeless. But it's like, well, these are some really important skill sets, understanding this technology and how to communicate with it, how to interact with it. I do think you're looking at some of the future economies and ways to generate revenue, ways to generate income for yourself. And it is really important. So again, salute for genuinely appreciate what you're building and taking these shots, and certainly rooting for you. I could probably chat all day on the just the nerd in me. I saw one of the questions on your FAQ says it AITV an AI girlfriend platform, and so I have to ask: is like the form factor more of the avatar like? Is that the not just the current state? Is that the end state? Do you envision more at some point down the road human like, where the AI agent looks like myself, or I'm not going down the OnlyFans, but the e-girl route. But like this reality is that's another big economy today. And I saw the AI question in your FAQ, so I thought that opened the door to the
Yeah, man.
Where do you see that part heading?
Yeah, like you said, it's a undeniable market. Like people are undeniably very interested in this. There's another funny example on Reddit. It's a subreddit called "My Boyfriend is AI," and it's a whole bunch of people who have effectively like really long ChatGPT threads where they've made it a personality and they're continuing to have this relationship with it day after day. And a good example of like how this can go wrong is like when there's a new ChatGPT update and all of a sudden the model changes. It's like, oh my God, like my person I've been talking to for so long, they're different now. But like the point of the matter is that people are building these strong relationships with AI. And so with AITV specifically, if you want to make a waifu, if you want to take, your artistic abilities and create a really attractive model and launch it, you can very much do that. And who's to say that you can't, right? And so this is an interest of people, and so why not? And then I'm trying to think of like there was one other thing I wanted to say here. One of the other big things here is that like you can have full creative control, right? So if you wanted to make it more realistic, if you wanted to make it something that's a bit more outlandish, you can do that. And so it's very empowering to artists who have lots of different ideas. And then in terms of, making things hyper realistic, so one of the benefits of us running this in our backend is that we're able to like plug and play different runtimes, like different engines for rendering things. And so we're also, one of the relevant partnerships in relation to this is we're working with LivePeer. And so if you're familiar with LivePeer, they started as a network for video streaming, a DPIN project for video streaming. And over the past year or so, they've been heavily researching and developing in the real-time AI space. And so visual models that can render in real time using AI. And so we're partnering with them to work on some experiments with this, such that you could potentially have like a real-time AI generation of a person, like a very realistic person as your AI TV channel. And so there's another like product that does this today called HeyGen. And so, that's another example of this technology becoming more and more ubiquitous and better. But we started with kind of like the tried and true 2D and 3D avatars because that gives you kind of like the most artistic control, and it's also the most high quality, since a lot of the AI models are still a bit nascent right now.
Makes sense. Someone asked in the chat, is this like pump fun for streaming? I'm not sure your thoughts or response to that. Or...
Yeah, it's a great question. So we are not another token launchpad, right? So you can connect your existing tokens if you have one, but if you don't have a token, that's fine, right? You can just launch your own AI streamer, and you can take all the revenue to your wallet. That's fine. You don't need a token. So if you're anti-tokens, like whatever, because I know it's been like in this last cycle, right? There's been just a lot of different takes on whether it was actually net benefit or a net negative for the space. And so I'm not going to express an opinion on that, but AITV explicitly doesn't take a stance, right? We're not trying to have a bunch of people launch their own tokens. If you have one, great, bring it, connect it, awesome. Your streamer will support it. All of the credit spent will feed into it. But if you don't have one, that's fine too. And all that revenue will just go straight to your pocket. That's our stance on token launchpads.
Appreciate the response there. Is it possible to do, like, what if we didn't want the video portion, the actual stream? Is it possible to do like a voice only co-host?
Yeah, so that's where the API comes in. So in our docs, we have a public roadmap. And so an item on that public roadmap is the AITV API. And so this is going to allow you to integrate this into any application. If you want chat only, if you want voice only, or if you want the full, avatar, talking avatar, you can do that as well. And so this will allow you to embed it into, chat applications like your Discord server, let's say, or your website if you want a, talking avatar on your website.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm excited to play around more. I'm excited to spin up a co-host or two and have some fun with this. Really do appreciate all that you're doing and taking a big swing here. It's exciting, and we need more builders building novel stuff. And I think this intersection of AI, and I know I'm not the first to say this. This isn't like ooh, but the intersection of AI and blockchain tech, the intersection of AI and crypto, to me, it is the frontier. It is where the exciting stuff in tech is happening right now. And not being cheesy, but this is world changing stuff. Like, this is also, while I'm that excited about it, it's also like top of the first inning. It is, to say alpha or beta phase, like things are not going to be perfect, but it takes builders like yourself. It also takes users and participants. And so I ask everyone listening, whether you're listening live or you catch the podcast later or you catch the Spaces recording, is go check out AITV.gg. Go support the account as they send out new updates and posts and pay attention, follow along. Even if this isn't for you, the skills and what's happening here, I think, is going to be transferable across every industry as we move forward. And I really do appreciate what you're building, appreciate your time today. I was excited coming into I knew I'd enjoy the conversation, but it's great to connect with you personally. And we need to have you back. This won't be the last time we talk about AI TV, and like I said, not beyond just getting a co-host spun up. I think I'm really excited to follow along the developments. We'll be rooting for you for sure. Jordan, is there anything that I didn't ask you today? Anything else that you wanted to share or hoping to share with our audience?
No, yeah. So first off, thank you so much for having us. This is a super awesome conversation. And so, I guess that the last thing to end it on is that, like you said, it's still the first inning. It's still very early. We're about to launch the AITV Studio. And so if you haven't signed up for early access, do that. If you're a creator, if you're a brand, if you have a project, if you have a token, if you want to launch one of these, sign up for early access, get in contact with us. All our DMs are open, and tell us what you want to do, and we'll give you early access. We're going to be opening it up in the month of February. So in just a few days here, it's going to be really exciting. And so hopefully the next time that we talk, we can have your co-host live on air with us as well. So
would love that.
Thank you so much, man. This is
my pleasure. Thank you. Really appreciate your time. Appreciate your patience as that BIRB conversation carried a little over into the 9 o'clock hour, but really appreciate your time today. Really enjoyed the chat. And I think that's the other thing to kind of like my last thoughts on this is we've talked often on here, like X really hasn't evolved much in terms of spaces in the last couple of years. And while we do live stream on YouTube and Abstract and there's tipping options there, it's just, it's always felt like there's just something lacking from like one simple request. Like I want to be able to tip our audience. Like I'd like to be able to reward our audience members. And thus far, there's just no great ways to do that other than us doing giveaways and promos and stuff like that, which is cool. It's fine. But even just like someone has a great question, like I'd love to be able to give some rewards back to them. And I think so, not just building out for the creators, but also simultaneously building out those Aura rewards and keeping the viewer in mind. I think that's where a lot of streaming platforms and creator platforms have missed is, I can't speak for all creators, but speaking for myself, I'd like it to be much more two-way, not just participatory. I can chat back and forth, but someone has a great question, someone jumps in and joins the conversation. I'd like to be able to give them some sort of reward. And thus far, we've really not been able to do that for the most part. And that gets me, equally as excited about the co-host and any sort of income or creator fees it might generate for us. This is the first time I've like, okay,
Oh, we lost you. Okay. It looks like you're streaming on X still. Okay, so it's just the stream. But yeah, no, I just wanted to say I agree with you wholeheartedly. Focusing on the viewer experience and actually being able to give back to them as the creator is super important. And so if anybody hasn't created this version of X Spaces on Farcaster by now, I think this is the calling card. I think someone really needs to build that sort of a X space, experience where you can reward the audience on Farcaster. I think that sounds super interesting.
Yeah. Let me close this other one. Had little tech snafu there. It decided it wanted to shut down almost as we were winding down. It must have knew that there was a clock or tick or something on. Not sure what happened. We got the power cycle and we're back. So appreciate you powering through that. And yeah, I do agree. The approaching it from both a creator and a viewer standpoint, I think it gives you a competitive edge over a lot of the other creator platforms out there today. And again, truly excited to see what all you build from this. And is there any other than I pinned up a recent post up top. You mentioned the studio going live soon. Any specific call to actions or anything for those listening in or catching the recording that you'd love to see everyone go check out today or in the near future?
Yeah, it's really just stay tuned to the timeline. We're cooking up some really big announcements with the launch of the studio, and so it's going to be accessible to early access first for a few weeks, and then it's going to be completely open. And so if you have ideas now for the type of AI streamers you want to make, start cooking them, start writing them down, remember them. Like one of the realities I would love to see people start to do is running multiple channels. And so there's no limit to the number of channels that you launch. And so if you have 10 different ideas, go for it. And you could be trying to manage 10 different characters and seeing what you can do with that, right? So there's a lot of interesting angles here for people to try and be able to make some new content, make some new characters, and monetize as well.
Yeah, you've got me. I'm mostly football, but big, like prior to Web3, I was grinding DFS in the evenings and weekends and a big, NFL, some college football, but I've done some football shows, but never really built like anything like real in that space. And I think as I start thinking ahead to like next season, no offense to any humans out there, but if I do something like this, I would start from ground zero with an AI co-host. Like I think that's where my brain goes. If I'm ever going to do any content outside of this show, I think from the jump I would build it with an AI co-host for many reasons. And it's not only I think that's where a lot of content's going to head. It's as a creator and entrepreneur, it's exciting. It's like you see a lot of people building their businesses with AI employees, and well, and I know to your point, there are some AI streamers that have and AI personalities that have already went viral and have big followings. I still don't know if we've seen anywhere close to what we're going to see in the near future. And I say that fully respecting there's some people that just, hey, I want proof of human. I don't want the AI slop. You may think it's AI slop today, a year or two from now. I don't know if you're going to be able to differentiate. And as a creator, I'd rather be working with these agents than competing against all of them. I'm over here by myself with only as many hours a day as I have.
Yeah, man, I couldn't agree more, and starting with a co-host that you can design is really powerful, and it still has the human element, right? Like you are still in control. It's just making your own little animated character. And it's like, I don't think people can get mad at that, right? But it's very different when, let's say, you want to completely replace humans with AI. Like, yeah, I can understand, but it's very additive, Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's the way to look at a lot of AI in general is it's a tool, it's a resource, it's additive. It's not replacing you. But I know you're putting yourself at a competitive disadvantage. You just put your head in the sand and say, I'm not going to do any of this stuff. I'm not going to pay attention to it. It's silly. And I think you're going to be fighting an uphill battle regardless of what you do. It's learning how to work with this as opposed to just against it is I feel pretty strong. That's the way to move forward. But Jordan, really do appreciate your time today. Again, thanks for powering through those technical glitches there at the end, but really enjoyed the conversation. Great to meet you and truly mean it. We'll have to have you back someday soon. Be looking forward to that studio launch. And I see my producer Payne jumped in the green room there. I'm certain our post-show debrief will be talking about adding one more thing to our task list of all we need to get done of AI cap coming soon to Coffee with Captain. So thanks again so much for joining us today, and best of luck with everything. And we'll talk again soon.
Likewise, thank you, sir. All right, take care.
Pleasure. Have a great one. Awesome. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I did. I meant what I said there. Really excited about this technology. Really excited about where not just streaming is heading and AI streamers are heading, but AI agents in general. And Cedric Katie says another thing we are early on. Absolutely, this is wealth creators say. Some would say the first 1,000 episodes were also with a bot. That's funny. He says not him. Steve is great. Steve is the GOAT. Yes. Speaking of Steve, I will we'll land the plane with a couple of takes here. I have some breaking news while on the show, and I saw we had a post from OpenSea here recently regarding this BIRB launch today. I saw Burbish, and BIRB is already hit the OpenSea homepage. And I'm going to pin this up top and I will share it. And then there's one other breaking news headline, and I'll let y'all get out of here and go tune into a BIRB space or whatever you want to do with the rest of your Wednesday. Appreciate all of you. I know there was a lot going on this morning, claims and all that good stuff. So I appreciate everyone that hung out with us today and supported it. But here is the big OpenSea announcement is for the next 24 hours, you will get a little bonus to the tune of 5% on your treasure chest rewards boost for any qualifying Solana trading activity. So again, BIRB is live on OpenSea, not just BIRB, but for any Solana activity, you're getting a 5% bonus in your treasure chest rewards. Go check that out. It is live now, eligible for trading, and token still holding that $300 million FTV line. I don't know. I don't think claims are live yet. Correct me if I'm wrong there. I'm sure coming soon, but I've not seen, unless I missed it, have not seen any comms around when claims are going live or if they're live. But still holding strong. Good. I think fair to say in the first couple hours of trading, meeting / exceeding expectations for many. And congrats to Spencer and the Moonbird team on a so far a well performing token launch. The other piece of breaking news that I'll share, and then we'll let y'all get out of here. Mega ETH, public mainnet, going live February 9th. Very bullish. I am biased. I do hold a Fluffle, and I was in the ICO, so I do have some bags that are bullish for this launch as well. But even beyond that, just am really excited about the network, excited about how they've launched, who they're launching with, and can't wait. This is going to be. We don't even have nothing sponsored yet. I see Bread popped in out there. I can be bought, Bread. I kid. We're gonna be doing some sort of a Mega ETH segment. I think where I'd like to kick off is a builder segment where we're highlighting, because they've worked with so many builders, they have so many dApps. That's where I think my brain goes. It would be a fun weekly segment to highlight someone building on Mega ETH, but with a recurring segment or not, we're going to be doing. You'll be hearing a lot about Mega ETH because it's going to be where my journey takes me. It's going to be where I'm spending a lot of my time. Going to be moving some additional capital over there, and really, it's the chain I've been most excited for, not just in 2026, but really, quite frankly, for last couple of years. No offense to Abstract or anything else that launched last year or might be launching this year. I just this is for many reasons something I'm pretty excited about. So the clock is ticking. February 9th, it goes live, and you don't have to wait. You can play around their testnet if you missed it last week. They're doing massive. They've done more transactions already in their testnet. Their I'm sure a private launch than has most of the blockchains out there in their entire time they've been a live blockchain. So just stress testing that thing and showing what it's capable of, that it's future proofed, and I do think it will attract and onboard another wave of builders. And excited for all things to come. So again, appreciate y'all being here. More on Mega ETH soon. I'm sure we'll have more. I don't want to call it post-mortem. That doesn't sound right. It's not dying, but we'll have more post TGE combo regarding the BIRB drop tomorrow morning as well. And good luck to everyone that's out there if you're trading this thing. I still think there could be potentially some polymarket hedging or ARBs to be had, but I don't know anything, so don't take any financial advice from me. Just have some fun, enjoy the day, and we will see you all tomorrow. Hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful day, everyone.